I think is the biggest surprise. I've just managed to really connect, whether it's divine intervention or just the organic way that relationships can be fast-tracked out here. Some of the relationships have really helped me personally and professionally and have helped me grow the business in certain ways. I just didn't expect that from having a coffee with some random person that's then connected me to the next person, and then it's the next person you've connected with, and then it's...
It's like a spider web.
100%.
I think that's what Dubai is, almost like a spider web of success, because I've started doing things last 6 months, a year, or had opportunities come to me that I'd never have anticipated 2-3 years ago. Yeah. And I think it's then that compound effect. But it's like I said earlier, of like those small conversations you have with people over time, and it just keeps kind of going. You mentioned you've had your business, what, 13 years?
14 and a half now.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say has been the key thing in terms of continuing to build your reputation and keep a business going for that length of time?
Have a good partner that's supportive, because I think you're never going to be able to, you just do it on your own. You do need a good partner, wife, husband, whatever it might be. I think, again, having a great team. I think being adaptable and flexible, because I've pivoted many times, and I'm very one of those people, I'm very quick to react instinctively on things. I think you even said to me once, I did, and you're like, bloody hell, Pete, that was quick. That's just how I am, because if I feel it, I'm very quick to react. I'm like, that's the right thing to do. That's the right decision, or that's the right business move to make.
So how do you get that intuition?
Maybe it's my age.
And how do you not be afraid? Because like the biggest thing that, say, a lot of people listening to this in the audience, they're afraid to start the business, do the thing, try and change or do something else, or even change their current business.
It's never too late. It's never too late. I changed my industry. I changed a career at 38. I had no clue what I was getting into at 38. Most people at 38 have got life figured out, Charlie.
And you had kids at that point as well?
I had 3 young kids, yeah. All 3 my kids were born. My daughter was 2 when I left the home in the UK to come out here, because the streets were laden with gold, and it was post 2008. So Dubai was itself on a little bit of a mini rebuild from the last sort of financial crisis. It is intuition. I've always taken risks. I've always understood the value in taking risks. I didn't consider myself a risk taker, if I'm brutally honest, but I now realise, when looking in my rearview mirror, in hindsight, I can see I've taken risks my whole life. And I think that is something I just didn't choose to acknowledge. Now I look back and go, yeah, I've taken risks in every part of my life. I just didn't really see it as a risk. Maybe it's because I didn't, used to not worry about it and stuff as well. So I think being adaptable, taking risks, being fluid, don't think you know everything, because you don't. Be open to other people that might be in your business and might be younger than you, less experienced, but they might come out with a sharp idea that you would have never thought about. There might be people external to your business that might make you or see something. And of course, as business owners, we can be quite dogmatic about, my way, my business, what do you know, you've not done what I've done. But some people can, make valid suggestions. I mean, you made one of me the other week, and I was like, okay, I'm open to that. So I think it's about having that flexibility and fluidity to be, open to everything and attached to nothing.
And that's why I think a lot of people have a bias to just believe the narrative of whatever they kind of tell themselves, or they just think this has worked so fast, this is the only way something can kind of be done. And I can even remember when I was an estate agent and the company I used to work at, I was like, yeah, the social media thing, you should probably take it kind of seriously. I think this is like really good. And I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I was like, okay.
But that was me years ago. I didn't want to even do anything when I started to see social media become popular. Like, I've been in the music industry half my life, DJing and music producing. So I've had a little bit of fame and notoriety, let's say. So my ego's satisfied. I've played that game. I've done that. I've ticked that box. But when my team were 3-4 years ago were encouraging me to be a little bit more present and have a little bit more brand presence, I'm like, yeah, sod that. I don't want to do that. I don't need to do that. Because I felt that where my ego was, say, satisfied, I didn't feel the necessity to want to get out and be in the public domain or in the public eye.
Do you mind if I ask you a question on that? Do you think
Sure.
that as an element of arrogance at some point, that I'm too good to need to do that? Because I see that with some business owners from like conventional businesses who are like, well, I'm already up here, why do I need to make content?
In my instance, it's not arrogance, it's actually shyness, believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah, it's shyness. It's because self-belief. I didn't feel worthy enough. I didn't think my story or my narrative or whatever I say was really of value, because considering myself a newbie in my industry still, I'm not from the industry, so it's almost like, oh, I'm not relevant, or I don't really feel I can add value. 15 years into my journey, I'm now confident to go, so maybe it's a confidence thing, where I'm able to say, yeah, I've had success and I've done some really cool stuff. Oh, I must be good at what I do. So I'm going to call it delayed, not delayed gratification, but a delayed onset of acknowledging that I'm successful or confident and knowing what I'm doing, even though I still say I'm figuring it out.
So would you say potentially it was maybe an element of imposter syndrome?
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Because I got asked that maybe 2 years ago, and someone asked, maybe 18 months ago, like, oh, how long did it take to get rid of imposter syndrome? I was like, probably only got rid of it like a year ago, after I've done it for like 5 years. Because it's like, I think there's an element of, not fake it until you make it, but it's like, I'm naturally very, very introverted and shy. So I learned to become extroverted. And it's like those things, it's like positive reinforcement, right? It's like,
you're an introverted and extrovert, right?
Yeah. So like I can turn it on when I want to be, but then like, I just like to sit on my own on the terrace by the Southern Sea and not talk to anyone. So it's probably why I like to build businesses, but not talk to everyone all the time. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I think that's understanding yourself, and that's like personal development, and then knowing how to manage yourself with that, which takes time.
I think knowing thyself, and I know you spent hundreds of thousands on self-development, as have I. I've still been coached and mentored today by a few people. Again, you can never stop learning. And I think the more I learn and understand myself more, my business has become more successful. My relationships with, obviously, family members, but externally, I'm able to understand the human psychology in people a little bit more, which I think is important in any business. I had an issue with one of my kids, and me and him clashed because we're so similar. Now he's matured and I've matured. We now understand each other, and I understand him more because I understand myself more, because we are so similar.
What would you say is the biggest thing that helped you from that personal development kind of maturity? Because that's probably a very helpful thing for people listening.
Having an external coach will help you see your blind spots. And you might have a best or a close friend or even partner that's close. Sometimes that they can be too close to you, and you can take it the wrong way with what they deliver to you. But if you've got somebody externally that then gets to know you, you seem to take on their advice a lot easier. I'll say it a different way. Years ago, I had a personal coach, shout out to Fran, by the way, and he helped me for a lot in some seasons when I lived out here in 2012. And I was in some really, really tough times where my back was against the wall, my family were really young. And everything he told me to do was everything my wife told me to do. But my wife I never listened to because I was too close. And she used to just sit there going, it's funny, I told you that a month ago, but you listen to Fran when he tells you, but you don't listen to me. I'm like, again, oh, sorry, babe. So again, I think it's because you're just too close to that person. If you're in a fortunate enough position, I would definitely say, seek sort of some form of coaching. It's helped me in every area of my life. A few years ago, my mate said to me, he's like, Pete, why do you spend so much on coaching? I said, because I love being coached. He says, yeah, but you know everything anyway. It's inside of you anyway. I'm like, that's interesting. And I think he's absolutely right. We absolutely do know. A coach just makes you, reinforces it and brings it out of you to make you realise. So it's almost like you're paying for something that you already know about. That was his point.
Well, and I said to you literally before this, the exact same thing. I paid someone $5,000 for an hour to tell me something that I already knew, but I kind of didn't see. And I was like, fuck, it's really obvious in hindsight.
Because when somebody else externally to you ratifies it and you see it and it is literally right under your nose the whole time, it then validates it and you think, okay, it was a doubt in my mind, but now I know it's true. Let's execute, kind of thing.
Now, if you enjoyed this clip and you're a coach, creator, or a business owner and you want help in terms of how to scale your business using ads, AI, content, marketing, a lot of things we talk about on the show, then hit the link at the top line of our description in the YouTube video. You can book on a call with us and we'll walk through the whole process, audit your business, and show you where there's huge, huge opportunities for you to scale.